Welcome to the Road is Dead podcast, episode number 150. We hit another mark here. We're at 150.
Nice.
I'm Rob Curtis here at CyMet Central. And joining me remotely, we have
Tim Strelecki in his non-inspired background.
I like that non-inspired background a little, though.
I do too. It's plain and simple.
Yeah. I mean, compared to the mess that I have behind, me here.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
What's new?
I don't know. Lots of new stuff. Unfortunately, Leah's not here because Leah would be like kicking me under the table and telling me not to talk about certain things. But because she's not here, I get to talk about certain things.
Hey, this is your podcast. You can talk about whatever you want.
Sure.
No matter who's here.
Yeah. What am I going to start with? Oh, well, let's hit the last race, Wheeling.
Yeah.
So last weekend in the CCC, the stop on Sunday was Wheeling. And for some reason that I still do not know to this day, it is become the most popular race in our entire series. Out of, you know me, I don't really want to poo-poo any one particular. Well, I want to poo-poo Montrose, but that's me. In general, I don't like to poo-poo any one particular race, and definitely not because I went out and I raced it and showed up and did everything else, which is more than some people. But there's the little bit of but in that comment. I am not a fan of the course.
Why?
It is honestly, in my opinion, it's Jackson Park 2.0. It
blows Jackson Park out of the water.
I think it's better, but it is 1,000 turns on a postage stamp.
Actually, if I may interact, it is 150 turns. How do I know that? Because I counted them all on the demographic. I'm like, when I blew it up and looked at it, I was like, Jesus Christ. I had the same sentiment, like, this looks like Jackson Park. But I counted them all because I wanted to entertain myself. And then I counted all the road crossings, whether you're going up or coming down, and there was 18 of those. So I'm like, okay, that's 18 chances to flat. So be careful with that. But I don't feel like it didn't race like a 150 turn track.
I can see that. I agree with that. Yeah. But at the same time, to my point, I did find myself getting somebody else used this phrase when they were talking to me about it, and I'm stealing it. Whoever came up with it, remind me, and I'll give you credit. But they got done. They looked at me and they're like, "I'm tape drunk." And it's when you get out there, you just see so much fucking tape. And I absolutely lost track of where certain turns were or what direction I was going more than once. And and it's like even in the course, you've pre-ridden it a bunch or whatever, and then even racing. I think I got 4 laps. And by your 6th, 7th time of doing it, you should know where you're going. And there were many times I would come up to a turn and not remember until the last second. And there were times, and I don't know what it is about that park. Maybe it's the time of the year, but the sun is like always in my eyes. So we race in the morning, sun's coming up, in the east, and it is so low that there are turns where you're just doing them blind. You can't see a thing because the sun is just directly on you. And then I know people that had the same issue towards the end of the day because then the sun is setting before the end of our races, even or right around the end of our races. So they're looking at the sun on the opposite turns, going the other direction. And I know a lot of them pointed that out. It seems like that happens at that park more than anywhere else, but it's got to just be because of the time of year, obviously, because it's not like any other park is unique in some way, like we only do north-south turns or something.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, there's a lot there. I do understand. It's even fun for me to race it. I do like to race it. So it's not like I can not understand, why it's as popular as it is. I do like the crew that puts it on, and I think they do a good job with it. I think they do a great job. Since Sasquatch joined in with them, I think they've really taken it up a level.
A little more thought going into it. I feel like this year, like I remember the first like year or two that we raced wheeling, I always went away with a sour taste in my mouth, like this venue is terrible, right? But I feel like the post-pandemic wheeling has gotten better each year, in my opinion. Like I've grown to actually kind of enjoy this event. And when the weather comes in for this track, it gets exponentially harder.
Yeah.
What I experience, the back of the course where all the features are and the hills and the railroad ties and the A line and the B line, that's really good. Like I'm never tape drunk there. The tape drunk comes in the flat towards the back half of the lap when you're in like the flat area in like quote unquote tent city. That's where I personally in years past have always got lost in the tape.
I don't get it. So I'm almost the opposite of you, but
Really?
not in the first part of going to the back. So the first part of going to the back is fine, and you go all the way in the back and you do the climbs and you do the A line B line thing. It's after the A line B line, um,
Coming
where we
back down the
start
hill.
coming back in and coming
Yeah.
down and then doing some of that stuff over
Yeah.
by the fence and everything like that. That's where I just start losing track. Like where they had the jump last year,
Oh yeah. Coming down
you know,
into that big
it's
right-handed berm.
that one I
Yeah.
didn't remember it was there until the last lap that I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
And that's also because I was also coming into the sun. I
Yeah.
was looking directly into it when we were coming into it. Once I realized I could let it fly, and I
Yeah.
just I got tape drunk there more than once in that general
Interesting.
area, and it
Interesting.
just didn't work for me. In the front, I was getting tape drunk the first couple times maybe, and then I figured it out, and then I was okay. But the front was just torture for me because of
Yeah.
the damn wind.
Yeah.
I mean, if there was any place I could have used some drafting for sure in there.
Yeah. Yeah. It was windy for sure.
It's one of these where now, not to over talk my race, but I my season is shot. I mean, it is gone. I was really hoping that I just kind of would be okay. I am not okay on a bike right now, and I spent a lot of time looking at my numbers, like health numbers in general, the ones that come off my watch, uh, today and yesterday. Um, I will say that this weekend for the racing, I felt like I really did well on the technical side when that stuff came up. But anytime it opened up, like in the front, I was just giving away spots and places and time and everything. It was horrid. I had nothing. I mean, to say that I had no fitness would be a gross understatement.
How much of that was your fitness, and then how much did your mental state play into that
Oh, no,
once
it was
you,
all fitness. It was all fitness because I was still just like I was just churning and churning. And I just felt like, just keep the tension on, the pedals and just keep it the same tension and really be pushing it.
yeah,
And I just get past like I was sitting still, which
yeah.
didn't depress me. It was just more like, wow, like, are they really having a good day or am I really that bad right now?
We didn't ride for
And
almost 2 months.
that's the thing. I started going back and looking, and then I started looking at my morning resting heart rate um, over the last month or so when I got sick, and it you can actually see in my numbers I was getting sick before I got sick, and it was probably 2 days. So the last 2 days before I got sick, or 3 days before I got sick, I was out racing, and I raced up in Wisconsin at the gun club and had a performance that I didn't feel was on for where I was, and then Campton. So you can see those 2 days I was sick. It was just it hadn't kicked in yet, and the Monday it started to kick in. Then Tuesday it was gone. I mean, I was in a hole as of Tuesday. There's one guy that hung out with us during that week, the weekend before, and then at the race, setting up and everything else like that. The week after the race, he basically had what I had, and he was pretty much sidelined the whole time. Uh, it was nasty, not something to mess around with for sure. But I felt okay, and I've been back on the bike, and not okay, but I felt okay enough to ride, and been back on the bike, and I'm like, I got to race this just to race it, otherwise I'm going to be disappointed.
Right.
And so I just didn't. In my mind, I went, don't expect anything out of this race. just focus, try to get a decent start, and just hang on
Yeah.
and do what you can.
Yeah.
And I did. I got a decent start, and then just watch positions float away. Um, there was 2 or 3 times when I was like, okay, I'm where I'm going to finish. I just
Hmm.
got to hang here, keep the same tension on, put out the same power, and you're good to go. And 2 or 3 times, somebody would come up from nowhere and within a lap beyond me and pass me.
Hmm.
And it was just like, it kind of blew my mind to a little degree. There was a guy, the last 3 laps, I think, there was a guy who I then looked up, and it was his first race ever. And powerful guy, got some power, couldn't
Same guy
handle his
from the
bike.
week before.
I don't know, no. This guy could not handle his bike at all. Um, and, you know, it was one of these where he fought so hard for so long, and he'd be right on me, and then he'd be, 5 seconds behind me, and then he'd be right on me, and then he'd be off. And it's every time we hit the back, I would drop him. And it was just the speed I was carrying through turns and stuff like that. And then we get to the front where it was just power, and he'd close on me every time. And we got to the last, we got into the maybe a lap and a half to last lap, maybe last lap, but yeah, it was last lap because we didn't get passed. We didn't get lapped until the last lap. And I knew it was going to happen. I noticed they dropped the lap count on me. So I was like, okay, we're going to get lapped. I do one less lap. That's fine. But we hadn't gotten lapped starting the last lap, which was kind of different. And we got, I'd say, halfway through. I don't know if it was halfway through. It was pretty close to halfway through. No, I don't know. The very far back, when you have the 2 steep kind of climbs, then you go down and you climb back again. That area is when we got finally passed.
Okay.
And pretty soon after that, we had a couple guys come through, and the guy had the second little climb. He had more power than me, and I just kind of went, it's yours. I'm sick of fighting you off. You've got me. You got the power. Go ahead. And so I was like, it's yours. Go for it. And he went. And we're both trying to like stagger so that we're not getting in the way of anybody. And which is a bit of an art when you're going slow. And we got to the A line, B line thing, and he and I were both taking B lines.
Mm-hmm.
And as we're coming in, he's like, "Do you think they're going to take the A line or the B line?" I'm like, I don't know, honestly. Just ride your line and just be clean. And so we went down, rode the line, and we got up to the top. And Jason and I think whoever else was with him, may have been PJ, came through like right at that time. They did the A line. And I think he got kind of nervous, and he got himself tangled in one of the stakes right after that. Jason was like, "Stay high," and he ended up getting tangled in a stake. I'm right on top of him, and I'm like half waiting, and then I'm like, I can't wait. I'm not going to wait. Sorry, man. So I went around him again. So then I had him for the whole last bit of the lap. I'm cheering on guys as they're passing. Come on, Moeller, let's go. That kind of stuff. And I don't know. We got passed by 6, 8 guys maybe total. And I'm holding them. I'm like, Jesus, he's really not coming back from this. I'm like, I guess I got him. And we got into the last, I don't know, last couple of the straightaways before the finish.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kind of feel him, you know what I mean? And we're coming on to the last straight, and I just kind of kick it up a couple gears, and I just kind of lay on it. And you can see in my file, my heart rate starts going up to its highest point in the last, couple straightaways, as I'm just like, just finish strong, finish strong, finish strong. And I get to the end, and I'm thinking to myself, he's not going to sprint me, is he? He's not going to sprint. There's no way. He's not going to sprint me.
Of course he is.
So I'm just picking up a couple gears, just try to keep it on and keep it a little faster and faster and faster. By God, he got me at the line, like at the freaking line. I was both impressed and pissed off at the same time, and disappointed in myself, because it was like, I knew that was coming. I knew it was coming. Yeah. And I could have gone harder. I just didn't. I should have gotten out of the saddle and sprinted, but I didn't do it. Because I was like, this guy's not going to. Well, apparently he did. So whoever you were, kudos. Well done. But yeah, I mean, it was fitness was so bad. It was just, at least I wasn't screwing up on the course. I was
Yeah.
taking the right lines. I wasn't losing a ton of speed to stupid stuff. I had zero fitness.
Yeah.
So it's like it was kind of depressing in that regard. But looking at my numbers health wise, well, first of all, if you believe in Garmin's HRV or whatever, it's been giving me warnings that mine has been extremely low for a couple weeks now. And while my 7 day average is still like well below like their bottom, um,
Hmm.
it's my nightly has finally come up to a regular level for me in the last 2 days. And the last 2 days, I've gotten sleep scores that were actually over 30. Um, and this morning was the only time that it has told me that I am fully recovered. Or training readiness was like in the middle of the scale. That's the only time it's done that in
Hmm.
weeks now. So I would say I'm finally coming around. I was still feeling the effects of being sick a week plus out this last weekend. I'm feeling a little bit better now, but man, I'll tell you, I got on, I was like, I got to ride the bike some, and it's so cold out and crappy out. I just don't want to go outside. So I got on the trainer here yesterday. I'm looking at the power output and on Zwift, and I'm like, that doesn't seem right. I mean, my RPE in my head, I know where I'm at, and that display is saying 30, 40 watts below where I think I should be for what I'm feeling. So I started thinking, man, I've really messed up. Something's really physically wrong with me. And
Yeah,
and then
you're
I
sick.
was well, then I was like, is it really that big of an effect? I mean, this is yesterday when I'm starting to quote unquote be okay according to the other numbers. I take my phone and I connect to my power meter I still got on the bike and just read that directly and compare it to what my kicker is showing.
Hmm.
Kicker is showing 30 to 40 watts lower than what the actual power meter was saying. So I was
Hmm.
like, okay, all right. So the actual power meter is close to what I feel like my RPE should be. So this isn't a totally worthless workout, but by God, I'm going to mark it as private so that nobody sees it because it looks really bad.
Who
But
cares?
I
Just
know
do
I
what
was
you gotta
like,
do.
I go, my body knows what's going on. So
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
I'm still okay.
Yeah.
But so I'm supposedly going to get on the trainer after this and, just put some more time in. I just time on the I need some base of something because my fitness is
Yeah.
completely gone. It's at the
Yeah.
lowest point I think I've had in a couple of years. Oh, well, the moral of the story is don't get hurt, folks. Just don't do it. It can really sideline a bunch of shit, which
Oh
is
yeah.
why I think you have a little bit of that philosophy of if you show up and it's janky, you're leaving.
Oh yeah. I put too much time and effort into being a good bike racer that if a track isn't I don't want to say good because there's a lot of tracks that I've raced on that aren't good, but I'm not going to waste my time with circus elements, circus features. No, I'm not. It's not what I trained for. It's not what the sport's about, and it's not going to help me achieve goals
Yeah.
that I've set for myself.
And I don't know, maybe we covered this before we started it, but this is in regards to what's possibly coming up this weekend, being at the
Yeah.
Forge.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
excited.
just because there's been janky stuff there in the past, but they've hopefully moved on from that. Mainly like those the straw stairs, things like that.
Those were terrible.
But they're gone.
Those those were terrible. You know how many times I remember doing that, and I remember how stupid it was, and I remember like 3 or 4 times I almost fell flat on my face because they had them held together with like
The bailing
with
wire.
with ratchet straps,
Oh,
and I
okay.
tripped over the ratchet straps on the way down, and I was like, I was so angry.
I
I
saw
just
a lot of people get caught up by the bailing wire on that.
and then they took it out and made it like one hay bale
Yeah, yeah.
later in the day. I don't know.
Well, so let's get your recap on wheeling. Um, you did come
Wheeling.
out, you did race it, which was good to see. I didn't see you at all before the race, but I figured
No, I laid
you're
low.
you're
I
avoiding
laid
the
low.
tent and everything.
Yeah, I mean, that's no disrespect to anybody there, but I'm at a point now where I don't want to get sick and I don't need to bring sickness home to my wife. So I stayed by myself. drama free, did my thing, showed up, was in the, like I always do, hermit, find the farthest place away and just sit in my little bubble. Pre-road, everything was fine, made some adjustments, some equipment changes, got my pressure dialed in and was like, all right, you've raced this venue so many times, and like we've said earlier, there's only so much they can do with it. So muscle memory remembers it, and visually you can remember it because they're not going to make drastic changes to it. And I didn't really, like we said earlier, you might have gotten tape drunk. I didn't really experience that. I thought for me personally, this was one of the best years of this track in the way it was designed. And I didn't feel that feeling at all. Maybe it was just because I was locked in and I had good flow and I was fresh. I had come off a heavy week or a heavy month of racing in October. I took 2 weeks off of racing completely, continued to train throughout that. So I was fresh, but I was unsure of how my body was going to respond to taking 2 weeks off of racing because it's something I've never really done. But I knew October was heavy, and I knew I needed to absorb that racing that I'd done prior and continue to do it. Um, Everything for me went well. Like I just showed up with, hey, this isn't a results based race. This is to open your body up again, get it used to race intensity again, and just let the chips fall where they may. Focus on getting a good start, like you, ride well, hit your marks, and just try to like be smooth. And I checked all those boxes. I mean, except for, Rylan, who came down from Wisconsin, who's a fantastic junior. He's actually in Tabor right now, racing on the U.S. team, racing the juniors at the World Cup.
Nice. Is he doing the Euro cross camp stuff, or is he just going over for the World Cup?
He's doing a couple World Cups, and then he'll filter into that ECA over there for a little bit. So, getting beat by a kid whose trajectory is on the way up and look like it's on its way to Europe, it's not a bad thing. While I'm trying to do everything to limit my downslide,
Right, right.
limit my trajectory going the other way. Only getting beat by 20 seconds is pretty good.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
so I tried hard to get him, but he's super good. He's super strong. He's technically good. Um, and I just couldn't get him.
Yeah,
But
there
he's
was
doing.
no one from the pits, at least watching from the pits. There was no one in the same zip code as you guys. I mean, it was you two, and you were right behind him. I mean, for the most part.
I was
Uh,
close enough to where if he messed up, I could capitalize.
yes, yeah,
I think the overall time gap was like 23 seconds between him finishing and me finishing, and then we had over a minute on third.
yeah, yeah. I
So
was counting. I was counting splits. I gave you one
yeah,
split maybe, but
I didn't even hear it.
you did. Yeah, and it wasn't that useful because you could still see him. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So it was like I don't want to yell stuff just
yeah.
for no point. Um,
I had little points where I would gauge his where he's at versus where I'm at, and for like a lap or two, it stayed the same. Then for a lap, it was like just a little stretched out, and then it came back, and I was like, "Ugh," it's
yeah,
like it's there, but I can't get there.
yeah. I
But
think you nailed it with the.
yeah,
If he had made a mistake,
I
you
could have
definitely could have
capitalized.
capitalized on it.
Yeah,
I mean, it
but
was just like that.
it was good. I mean, overall, coming off of a break that I'd never taken before in the middle of a season like that, my body responded well. My training was good. My legs were good. Most importantly, my mind was right. So, there's a lot of races where you could be physically good, but if your mind's not in it, you're not going to physically do well or perform well because let's face it, your brain controls what your body does. Um, so it's good. Things are trending in the right direction for me heading into nationals, and that's all I can ask for. But it was a
And
solid
you
race.
nice.
Solid race. Yep.
And you're queuing up for this weekend. You are going. You, as of right now, you're registered for
Wisconsin state champs.
Corey. I thought I was going to say Corey.
I have yet to register for that because I want to see if they're doing anything circusy. If they're
Gotcha.
gonna, honest to God, and this is no, if you don't want to say it, I'll say it. and this is no disrespect to anyone in the EMC organization or that is busting their ass to put this event on, you can only do so much with the land you are provided, right? You have to make it fun, you have to make it challenging, whatever that looks like for you. But for a person like me and what I want out of racing, doing features that aren't necessarily cyclocross-esque don't do anything for me. It doesn't get me psyched. I don't see like, oh cool, hey, I want to go try and do this without twisting my ankle. When I've invested so much of my season and my not even the cyclocross season, way before the cyclocross season to even get to this point to where I want to go, that I'm not going to risk that. I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem going there, seeing what it's all about. If it's something I'm into, cool. If it's not, I have no problem packing up, going home, saving myself for another day, and they can have my entry fee. I'm fine with that. But I don't think you should bring elements that aren't, natural, quote unquote, natural into a venue, regardless of what your terrain looks like. There's way more ways to lengthen a lap than to add ridiculous features.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I uh I think they've I don't want I don't know if the right phrase is matured, but they've gone through what a course would normally go through development, and with it being the third year. Now, granted, some of the berms are removed, or the big wood
Oh,
ones that we rode before were
oh,
removed.
pour one out for the berms.
Right? I know. You rode them great, obviously.
Yeah,
I actually
doesn't
had a
bother
lot of
me.
really good luck with them.
Yeah.
Um, but there was a lot of accidents on them every
Oh
year.
yeah,
A
absolutely.
lot of people hurt. I would say I don't have any numbers on this, so this is completely me pulling it out of my butt. But this entire podcast is dedicated to the idea of me pulling information out of my butt. So I got to say, out of all of the venues, that one hurts. More people get hurt at that venue than any other venue,
It could be a different
and
story this year.
could be. Don't know. Don't know what changes are there and what's going to happen and what's going on. But I know. I mean, even Ty, going down at the start and
Oh
what
yeah,
his
that was.
collarbone or whatever that was. I think it was his collarbone.
I mean, a long start is one thing, but to do a long start on
On
gravel
gravel,
is a whole
and
nother
then
thing.
into a like a marbly turn. After
Yeah.
that too.
Well, I think it transitions from gravel to like, isn't it wood chips? It's a little bit of
I
wood
think it's
chips, a
something.
little
Yeah,
mud. It's like
and
one
then there's like
surface to another.
three surface changes between that and the 180 to come back. It's
Hey,
like,
you know what? I'm okay with that because you got to know
yeah,
how to ride your bike.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I my
Just
only
don't put like,
disappointment there is I got a flat there last year
mm-hmm.
and
I
ended
can
up
see that.
losing some spots last
Yeah,
year, and that was disappointing to me. But that's my
it's
own, you know, it's my own fault. Number one, I deal with people that get flats all the time, and it's just the
yeah.
nature of the business. And I have people that talk to me a lot about tubulars, and they go, "Well, I don't want to mess with tubulars because they're expensive if I get a flat." And this, listen, I have in one thing that I have learned over all the years of being associated with this hobby is that there are some people that ride and get flats, and they can get flats on any equipment in any location doing anything.
Hmm.
And then there are people that just never get flats, and they can be in the same situation riding the same equipment as somebody who always gets flat. And those people are going to get flats, and the other people are not going to get flats. So I don't know how to appropriately address a lot of people's concerns over whether or not they're going to get a lot of flats. So tubulars, do you get a lot of flats now? It's one of those things where if you ride in a way that, and I do think it's how you ride, it's how you pick your lines,
Hmm.
it's how you go down the road, whether or
100%.
not you quote unquote let ass over stuff when you're going through transitions, or I mean, there are people that just do it and never notice it,
Yeah.
and I'm the kind of person that when I look up the road, I am literally looking at every little thing that isn't the road and
Hmm.
making sure that I'm not riding directly over it.
Hmm.
And I just do that subconsciously. And when I'm picking lines, in a course, I'm choosing areas. I'm looking, is there a route there? Is there not a route there?
Yeah.
I'm noticing that kind of crap because I'm not looking down the course the way that I should. So I tend not to get flats just in general. I don't get flats like normal riding. And I don't typically get them with tubulars or racing cross. I've been doing cross for a lot of years. I don't know, 16, something like that. Yeah, like 17 years I've been doing cyclocross, 17 or 18 years. And I have been riding tubulars for all but maybe one of those years. The one year that I rode non-tubulars, this is back when we ran inner tubes, and I was running a 30 millimeter tire, and I did get one pinch flat. Um, Outside of that, the only other flat I have ever gotten racing cross has been at this venue last year. And so for me, that's kind of one of those when I don't get flats anyway. I did 17 races, something like that last year, and that's the only flat that I got. That one, you know, hey, shit happens. I understand when you toe the line, you can get a flat. And one of the benefits of being on a tubular is that I was able to ride it out to the very end, but not with a lot of control. It does leave a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth when it happens, knowing that the venue itself increased my likelihood of getting a flat. Flats happen. I get that and I understand it, but the odds of it happening were higher at that venue than others. That being said, I think the odds are about the same as if racing at Sycamore Speedway for this year, because there's a lot of metal out there. There's there's plastic in pieces all over the place, sharp bits. When you got the right angle of the sun hitting it, you just see the entire course just glisten with
Glass.
all the, yeah. It's not glass though. They yank all the glass out for the most part, I guess, and
Oh,
I guess
yeah.
they're pretty good at maintaining it. Um, and I didn't see, I saw two flats there the whole weekend, so um, I'm impressed with that. But at the same time, that gives me the raw feelings that going to the quarry gives me in terms of the flat potential or possibility. So that's my only thing with it. So that's kind of hanging in the back of my head. But at the same time, I don't know. This might be my last race of the year. For all I know, I may or may not race Montrose. So you know, I did want to go up to Wisconsin to do their state championships. That's on Saturday, and that is at Trek, correct?
Correct. It's a
And but
good
they
one.
run
They
the
don't.
course.
It's different. It's run
Yeah,
different.
and that was one last year I ended up getting on the podium for. I really enjoyed that course. I liked racing it that way. I
Hmm.
thought it was pretty unique racing it that way, and I did like it quite a bit. So, if you're thinking about heading up there, I would recommend heading up there. I know. So you said you're going to go up there. Uh,
Hmm.
which race are you racing? Do you know?
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3 up there. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Should be some good. I mean, it's their state championship, so I would assume there's going to be a lot of heavy hitters coming out of the woodwork.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Teeters will be there, I'm sure.
Hmm. Hmm. Yep.
Who else? There'll be some other guys.
Yeah. Isaac will be in there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's always good. It's always good. You could have a field of 10 dudes in the 1, 2, 3 at Wisconsin, and 7 of them are national champions.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's
That's true.
always good.
Very true.
It's always good.
They've always had tougher fields than
Or
us.
or they're just an up and coming junior that rips.
Yep. Yeah. No, it's almost like racing cyclocross in Wisconsin is like playing a pickup basketball game in Indiana.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you
It's
never
like,
know who's going to step on the court, and by God, they could be the next,
yeah, you're the fools
Larry
that go
Bird.
up. You're the fools that go up to Wisconsin to think you're gonna do good, and then on the track comes Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson, and they just
Yeah,
wipe the
yeah,
rest
yeah,
of you. Like white men
yeah.
can't jump.
It's the Hoosier farm boy, that just comes out of
Yeah,
nowhere and just
yeah.
goes, "Yeah, I
The
played
one
basketball. Let's go do it."
the one 15-year-old that's been coached by Mater for like the last seven
Right,
years of his life
right.
and is a complete badass.
If not Mater himself, rolling onto the
Oh
course
yeah.
and going, "Hey, are we going to do this?"
Yeah, he'll just drive by in his car and go, should I? Should I not? Should
Right.
I? Why not? I'll start dead last in a field of 30, and by third lap, I'll be leading it.
Yep. We had
Absolutely not even batting an eyelash.
we are coming up on the anniversary, or this is the anniversary of all the Norgie races that I put on. You weren't
Mhm.
you weren't around for any of that, were you?
I never did any of
It
those,
was
no.
fun. I mean, I'll just
Yeah.
say it was fun. It was unique. It was different. It was fun. It was 1/3 of a lap that was amazing,
Hmm.
and then 2/3 of a lap that were in a bumpy field across the road. Just because we needed the real estate. I mean, it was what it
Sounds
was.
sounds like the majority of crosses.
Yeah, but it was. I do remember there were a couple people uh, at the time and who were like, this is the closest thing that I've ever raced to like a European cross race. And these were individuals that had raced in Europe, in Belgium, and so on and so forth, who come
Hmm.
across and they're like, this is really the only course that I've done that gives me the same feels as a Belgian like cyclocross race, which I now understand because it's this weird, you know, course layout with some weird stuff just put onto a postage stamp size, of land that you can use. And you
I
got to park
think
down the road.
I think Belgian crosses are like this. They go to the track and they go, "Oh yeah, that 90-degree hill, we could send them up that. That 90-degree hill, we could send them down that. Oh, through this pile of horse shit, we'll send them through that." They just look for the most random, and then they just piece it together with long
And,
straightaways.
and they don't give two shits about
No,
any of the infrastructure associated
nope,
with it. They're just
nope.
kind of like, yeah, let's just do this. Oh, okay. Well, where's everybody going to park? I think there's some parking like 2 towns over. People they can walk in, or they can ride a bike. They'll be okay.
Right.
And then they
Yeah,
charge at the door.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
beautiful. Love it. Speaking of which, I was watching the races from this last weekend. The last race that happened, I think it was on Sunday. It's Hama or whatever. I don't know
Hama,
how you.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's a good one.
and I noticed on that course. I mean, it was a short course and a lot of laps. I think the men did like 10 laps and the women did
10,
like 7 or 8 or
8,
something like that.
7 or 8, yeah.
And there's one shot. They had one feature and they had the great camera angle on it. And by God, I was like, "That's our off camber from Woodstock." They're doing the same damn thing with
Oh
the snow
yeah,
fence and
yeah,
everything,
yeah,
and they did it every damn time, which is interesting because the women rode it every time, and
yeah.
then when the men started their race, they were running it at the very end, at the top, the last turn there, which I thought was interesting. But
There was one, the one before Hama. I think it was
yeah,
Merksplat.
Mercksplat, yeah,
Dude, they were bombing down a hill, and at the bottom of the hill, right where their transition is, there's three fucking long stairs. They just right over. Like you could see it if you look at it. It just looks like a yellow ramp, but they showed it from the front angle, and it's three stairs. They're just, it's like, God bless the Belgian promoters. We don't
oh yeah.
care. Just put
They're
it
just
in.
like, yeah, that's good. And what was refreshing for me to watch, I was watching that one
Yeah.
this morning,
All the cross races this year have been awesome.
or Hama. I was watching Hama, the men's Hama, this morning.
Yeah.
We've been watching Antiques Roadshow in the morning when I get up with Parker and make sure I get something to eat and everything. I just want something on the TV, and so I do Antiques Roadshow because I'm sick of watching the news or anything else.
Oh yeah.
And we play a guessing game with the value stuff, and it's fun. But
Hmm.
it just dawned on me because I was like, I haven't been watching the races this year, and I feel like I'm kind of behind. And it dawned on me, I'm like, I can watch a race every morning when we're getting ready for school and whatever. And then, I don't know, maybe Parker will pick up some of it. By God,
Yeah.
he's been going, hey, that's, and he's looking at the Dutch stuff and different flags and looking at different languages and stuff and really getting intrigued by some of the racing going on. And he's like, oh, hey, he got in front again. I'm like,
Yeah.
finally, it's happening. But,
Nice.
yeah, but
Nice.
I was watching that one and God, what was I going to tell you on it? I can't remember, but there was something in it that it was nice to see. Every time they came by the pits, there was a big, puddle of water
Yeah.
in one
Yeah.
spot that was all
Yeah.
mud and water and splashed all over everybody. And
Hmm.
it took me seeing it twice for me to go, that's from the damn power washers in the pits.
Yeah.
It's nice
Yeah.
to know that at least in Europe, they haven't figured out how to fix that either.
Oh, they never
Because
do. They never
every
do.
every UCI course that we've gone to
Yeah.
where there's constant power washing, there's that just mudded out, swamped out area of the course right next to it. I remember a Jingle was bad
Yeah.
for years.
Yep.
And they made it got so bad that they started cutting off the power washers during some of the amateur races. They were just like, you don't have them. If you need to wash, you can go out to the ones in the parking lot or whatever and wash and then come back. They just cut it
Yeah.
off. They cut the water off.
Yeah.
And
I could see that.
I remember the last year they had it that I was there, which may not have been the last year that they had it, but the last year that I was there for it, it flooded out so bad. And that's right. But they had two barriers. Like you hit those two barriers, you go through the slop, make a
Yep.
90, go through the
Yep.
slop, and then you'd be in the
Yep.
pits, And it was just like, ugh. So it's nice to see that they have the exact same problem, in Europe, and they just don't give two shits. Because I figured
Yeah.
they'd plan it well, you know.
No.
That's one
Because
thing in my head that I've always had this idea of a permanent cyclocross venue, and I honestly thought I was gonna. I had a lot of plans a long time ago to put it into Raceway. So Raceway's there. They were putting mountain bike, trails in there. I don't care about mountain bikes, and I don't care about mountain bike trails. I know a lot of people do, so cool. And Camber's done a great job putting in cool stuff there. Awesome. But that place is huge, and it's got enough infrastructure still left from it being a auto race course that it's like I in my head was like we could put a velodrome in the inside of it in the center, a covered indoor velodrome, and you could put a BMX track outside of it, you know, like a really good BMX track there, and then you could also put a permanent cyclocross style course there with enough key features that you could switch up the course and do different things, but you'd have permanent flyovers. And in my head, I was like, you'd have a permanent pits, and it would be one that you could power wash the hell out of anything you wanted. And we could design a catch basin to catch all the mud and water, separate it out,
uh-huh.
and recycle the water part of it so that you're still reusing the same. You're not just burning through a bunch of potable water, and you're not clogging the area with mud, and you're actually dealing with it, scooping it all out and putting it somewhere else on the course so you're still reusing it. And you wouldn't swamp anything out. And you'd have plenty of positions to where everyone can wash whenever they want. So you could do half lap bike changes for everybody. This is the kind of stuff I think of. But that was in my dream cyclocross course, is some beautiful way of handling all the runoff and all the soil and everything else that comes through there. Needless to say, in my mind, I guess I thought that was going on in Europe. And obviously, when I took
No.
5 seconds to think about it, of course it's not. And it's
No.
just beautiful to see that.
Watch an entire season, and 85% of the venues are just like that. Power wash, giant puddle, especially when the weather turns real crappy. You know,
Yep. Yep.
and
So
then
I got to go.
they'll just pit on the other pit.
Yeah.
They'll ride through the mud and
Yeah.
pit in pit two because there's no mud.
God, I would say I miss doing that, but I kind of don't. I miss it. I romanticize it. It's nostalgic, changing bikes and washing them and running and doing all that. But
It's a lot of
when
work.
you're in it, it sucks. It really sucks. But then,
Yeah.
but it's one of those things where I don't know, maybe it's the same mentality that we get when we ride hard or do something really challenging. It's like it totally sucks in the moment. It's like
Feel good
gravel.
when you're done.
It sucks in the moment, but at the same time, you're working hard and you're achieving something. So you keep pushing.
Mhm.
And when you get done, you look at it and go, yeah, it's pretty cool. I had a lot of fun doing that. But in the moment, it's like having to run outside naked in 30-degree sleet and rain. It's like, why would I ever do that? But then when you get back in, you go, that was amazing. That was so horrible. No one would ever do that.
It's called a
And
cold plunge.
that's how we judge things in this stupid
Yeah.
sport. But
Yeah. No, it's
anyway,
good.
so Wisconsin, that should be a great course if anybody wants to go up and do it.
Yeah.
I hope that people do register for Sunday. The registration for Sunday looks abysmal. Granted, we're recording this on Thursday. We still got another day of reg, and all the reg comes very late in the
La-
day.
Last time I looked, it was only not even, it was like maybe 150.
Yeah, it was like 160, 155 ish, 160 last I looked, which is abysmally low.
What was Wheeling? Wheeling was almost 400.
For something. Um,
Dang.
yeah. And they were at this point, I want to say they were at like 250, almost 300. I will say this. We preach this all the time, and to be honest with you, the people that are the problem with this don't listen to this podcast anyway. So it's kind of maybe preaching the choir, but maybe if you hear this, you can carry on that conversation with people that you know or spread that information. And what I'm going to cover is, as a race promoter, you need to
Promote?
yeah, no, it's when you're a race promoter, this is how things work.
Oh, now I lost audio
Sorry.
too on you.
No, this thing is coming in and out. They will occasionally get as you collect entries, they will pay you out as a
Hmm.
promoter. And they
Okay.
do it so that you can actually help pay for the event as you go.
Okay. Okay. I did not know that.
They've always done that, but they won't pay out if there's nothing in it.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so when you are a promoter and you use Bike Reg, as you collect registrations, they will occasionally cut you a check. Now, it's a direct deposit.
Yeah.
The mechanics of that are not, rocket science. But the reality is, you got to have some registrations, otherwise you're not getting anything. This is the first year for any
Yeah.
event that I've ever done to where we went to go get the payouts from the bank in cash, because we do them in cash. We went to go get the payouts from the bank for both days and to put them in envelopes so we could get that done before we went to go do setup. This would be on Thursday. So Thursday, when we have two races, one on Saturday, one on Sunday, there was not enough money in the race account to cover the just the payouts. And we only pay the
Mhm.
top men's race, top women's race. It's a
Okay.
grand, $1,000 to cover both of those races. So $500 per race for payout. Well, we had 2 days to
Hmm.
do it, so it's $2,000. There was not $2,000 that had been paid out in registrations yet at that point. To give you an idea, I think our food truck. I did get asked the question, why do we pay for the food truck? We had to pay our food truck because we pay our volunteers. In essence, we say if you volunteer for us, we'll give you a food ticket. And, you know, so we're paying for all those meals for 2 days,
Yeah.
which adds up
Yep.
to a lot of money, to the point where our food truck offered to just do some catering for our volunteers for next year to help reduce that price for us. So we may or may not do that.
I didn't get a food
Well, you
ticket.
didn't. You got to talk to Leah. Leah's in charge of that. Maybe she was like, you know what? I'm not going to feed him, but
Probably not.
yeah,
Something
sure.
like that.
No, she hands out food tickets like they're freaking water. Trust me, I wrote the check. That's one of our biggest expenses. I think that was like 1,400 or something like that. And then we've got
Mm.
our porta potties, which are about 1,400, around in that range, 1,200 to 1,400, and those are our major expenses. Our t-shirts, obviously, that's another grand in there. Supposedly we sell them, right? So that should be coming back to us. But the reality is, we did not get enough money into the race account to run the race before the race. It all happened after the fact. It came in after the fact, but that means that absolutely no one was registering until the very last minute. And we've seen that as a trend for years and years and years. And I've been telling, race
Yeah.
promoters, listen,
I'm
it's
guilty
not
of
going to
that.
change. Everyone's going to register the last minute. That's just the way human nature is right now. And you just got to be able to function without it. I remember when Bill Barnes was running his race in California, he goes, he kept texting me going, hey, should I cancel this? When do I make the decision to cancel this? Because there's not enough people registered. And I'm like, you can't. You just can't, because you blow every ounce of credibility when you do that, when you cancel a race.
Hmm.
Uh,
Just run it.
the people are going to show up or they're not going to show up, and you're not going to know until after the fact. So you
Yeah.
just kind of got to take it on faith, and you just got to kind of hold
Yeah.
your wallet out and just cross your fingers. Um, this time it was bad enough that I'm like, something's got to change about this. Otherwise, what's going to happen is, like what we were saying before, the numbers are down enough this year that people are going to start
Yeah.
cutting amenities out of the races. You're going to have to. Can't afford them all. Um,
Yeah.
the It dawned on me though that it was like, this works for races like Rough Road, Barry-Roubaix, and some of the bigger gravel events and things like that, it's very common, or even in Telly or Toad, they increase their prices as you get closer and closer to the event. Well, flat out, I was sitting there and I was talking to a couple other promoters or race directors for the series at the time, and I'm like, we need to raise all of our prices. It would be another $10, so you'd be paying the or the day of reg the week of the race. So in other words, prices would go up Monday evening, or like by Tuesday morning. You have Monday to register the week of the race. Otherwise, you're paying more, at least $10 more, and then day of needs to go up another 10. So instead of paying, so I don't know, was it $35, $35 right now?
There's a lot. There's a lot of cross races that do that, like your bigger
Yeah,
ones. Your
Breck does
UCI
it.
races
Yeah,
do that.
absolutely. And
I don't know if it's ever been done on a
it
local
hasn't,
level.
at least not that I know of. But it was even, to give you an idea, kind of how backwards it is for us. We didn't even do the day of up the $10, but still register online until we started it in 21 after the pandemic. And it was when we didn't have an
Hmm.
official CCC season. Um, Jason was like, try it and I'll pay attention to see if it works. And it worked really well. And so we changed the whole series to that. So you can register day of using your phone, you know, and we've gotten,
Super
we've
easy.
gotten down to the point where uh, for each night when I have to reopen reg for day of
Mhm.
registration, it doesn't take that long, 20 minutes, if that. So there's nothing that says, as a promoter, I wouldn't mind putting another 20 minutes in, Tuesday morning to increase the prices of everything, if I know that it's going to get me more pre-reg by the end of Monday. Now, the point of this is not to get everybody to pay more money. The point of it is to get people to register without, waiting to the last minute to see what the weather's going to be like, or, I don't know, making some plans like an adult to make your own transportation arrangements before 5 hours before the race. That seems like it's the biggest ordeal. If you look at the races this year in our series that have suffered, and this should apply to everybody, but our races in the series have suffered immensely this year in terms of their attendance, except for Wheeling. Wheeling didn't suffer. The Triple X race suffered. Glenwood, I think, was up 10%, around that figure.
First race, first race of the year,
Yeah.
good weather. It's going to.
Uh, Even though people complain about where it's at or that they've got to travel to it or whatever, it still did good. You got Triple X that just tanked at Big Marsh, and that's got to be, the weather. The weather was horrendous for that, and I know a lot of people held off because of that. You can,
That's probably weather and
yeah,
logistics.
you can say that that's what affected our race. You got to hope. I mean, because it's not because of the quality of the course.
It's definitely
Yeah,
part of it, for sure.
and and we did have some weather challenges, quote unquote. I mean, it was perfect weather for cyclocross, but for fair weather cyclocross people, which apparently most people are now, they don't know how to suffer or don't want to suffer, or they can't figure out how to get in a car and drive out to the venue because apparently that's too big of a task for them to achieve. I mean, we did 2 days so that people could have an opportunity to stay in a hotel and make the stay worthwhile. They can get 2 days of racing out of it. They can stay at the venue. They can, see the whole day of racing both days, try to make it easier.
Yeah.
And there's a metro stop, 2 blocks away. And I don't think anybody even used it this time.
Hotels aren't cheap, man.
$100. It was $100, 120, I think, for that night.
Pe-
But I get it.
People don't
It's
want to pay.
cheaper than, renting a car, I guess, for both those days or what have you. And we tried to make it, an incentive to stay out there by having it be 2 days of the cup. Because if it wasn't 2 days in the cup,
Mm,
then there was no way anybody was going to stay out there for 2 days. We've proven that in the past. But our
yeah.
numbers were the lowest, I think, almost the lowest I've ever had out there. So And that includes the years where we had like the preview race. It was only 100 and some odd people that raced and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
Sycamore, they were down almost 200 riders this year. I mean, that's
Yeah. I can see that.
huge. They went from 471 pre-reg down to like right around 300, 280 to 310 or something like that. I don't know.
Which in turn, in the Bartlett Park, their numbers were always fine.
They
They always had a big
so
attendance.
last season 2024, that race in Sunrise Park was the highest attended race, or at least highest pre-reg
Mm-hmm.
race
Yeah.
at 471. I'd have to go and look at the numbers. Wheeling either got close to that or was very close to it this last weekend. So they have taken over that spot.
Yeah.
Campton, those numbers weren't great, I don't think. I mean, they weren't bad. I mean, they always do well as they're one of the original courses. It's the same as it's always been. People either like it or like it. There aren't too many people that go, oh, I don't want to go out to that one. I mean, they've got it. And it's always a Halloween race, so everybody wears a costume. That adds a whole nother dynamic to it. So the people that don't even really like to race at least like to dress up and come out. So they've got all those things
Mm-hmm.
working for them. I think their numbers are okay, but I think they were still down a percentage. If you look at cross across the country, it's down across the board for the most part. I don't get the reports that I used to get, but pretty much everything I hear from every little area and district across the country is just that cross participation is down. I don't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
I I see more, I would say, top end riders who are now starting to advocate more and more for cyclocross than I've seen in a long time. I'm hearing more and more support for it and more people going, hey, that's where real racing is going on. And it seems like there should be a groundswell heading that direction. I don't know. Maybe that's 3-4 years in arrears to that kind of sentiment change. But I have seen a sentiment change with that crowd, so to speak. I don't know. Anyway, so the reg for this weekend looks like shit. That's not an indication of the course, quality of the production that's put
No.
on, or anything like that.
No.
So I don't know. People need to get their heads out of their asses and register and go race a race. That whole expression of, well, if you want to continue to see it, you better go out and do it. Folks, I hope we've proven that at this point, that you really do need to actually go out and support it if you do want to see it continue. And everyone just takes everything for granted at this point. They just go, it's going to be there. CCC is not going anywhere. And while I'll say the CCC probably isn't going anywhere, at least anytime in the near future, it is suffering for money. It doesn't have sponsors.
It's been suffering for
It
money.
doesn't have sponsors. And,
Yeah.
the number of people that are coming out to races is starting to make it look like, a grassroots crit campaign at this point. It's kind of like, what's the point? So I'm going to be there until the bitter end, with my last $5 out of my wallet, handing it as a hand up to somebody, because that's the way that I do things. I'm too
Yeah.
thick-headed and stubborn to just be like, well, maybe we should move on, because fuck that. We're going to have it.
I wonder why. I mean, I really wonder what it is. I mean,
I don't know.
it's not, I mean, I don't know. I mean, are people going to Wisconsin?
Their numbers are holding,
Are
anecdotally, their numbers are holding pretty well to slightly up, but they're still
Yeah.
like their best days are about what we have at Woodstock.
I mean, people could just go to Wisconsin for Saturday and be like, I can only race Saturday, and then they don't show up Sunday because they're busy or doing something else or have family obligations or
But I'm saying what I'm saying with that. So, like, I think I mentioned it in the last podcast, but there was an interview that popped up where I said that we had over 500 riders that one year. Wisconsin, on its best days, gets like 200 riders. So it's still not. It's an order of magnitude below our general levels. Not an order of magnitude, but it's half of what we would get for a general weekend. And from our peak, even if these are some of their best numbers, it's still like 1/5 of what our peak was. So it's not like there's not enough going to Wisconsin to account for the differences here, is what I'm saying. So it's something else. It's just people aren't doing it. But hey, if they're not doing it, they're missing out.
yeah. I mean, No sense crying about it. Can't do anything about it. You're not bringing them out there. It
Yep.
is what it is. I hate that fucking saying.
But you've
Oh
been
God, I
using
hate
it
that
a
saying.
lot.
No, no, that was the first time I used it in a
Sure, sure, sure,
long
sure.
time.
I'll have to go back and re-listen to some of this.
I
Pretty sure you
don't.
used it in the
Yeah,
last podcast.
I guarantee you I didn't.
All right. I'll
No,
take your word for it.
no. I don't. What is it? What is it? Let's try and figure it out. What is
I
it?
I don't know.
It's it's the G word.
What gravel? Nah,
Gravel.
nah. Because I
Yeah. Dude, there's more people leaving gravel at a high or leaving cyclocross at a high level to go
well,
race
yeah,
gravel because their current sponsors are demanding that they go
yeah.
do that.
I there are people leaving cross to go do gravel. Who cares? On the high level, that's fine.
You know,
We have no high level left in this country. Um, the on the men's side, we do.
that's not
We still do.
that's not
On the
true.
women's side, it's decimated. It is absolutely decimated. You used to have a
It's just different. They're
Oh
there.
no,
It's
they're
just
not
different.
there. There used to be a solid top 10 on the women's side that not only was entertaining, but was an actual draw and a better draw than the men's side. And you had 10 racers or more where you not only knew their names, but you knew their backstories, you knew their past results. You could actually watch the dynamic racing because it was always closer. And it wasn't a shoe in that
You could say
one
the same
person
thing
could
for
win every week like it was on the men's
you could
side.
say the same thing for the
Nah,
men's. You could say the
the
same thing for the
men's
men's side
side,
this
it's
year.
well, this year,
Same thing.
yes.
It's two dudes.
That's the
It's
way it's
two
always been.
dudes. It's It's two dudes. No way. No way, dude. Go back to
Power.
Kabush, Todd Wells,
Okay, no.
Powers,
It
Tim
wasn't all that.
Johnson.
It
These
was
guys. You
Powers.
had
It
like
was Powers and Trebone.
no, there
It
was
was
more
Powers and
dudes. There was
Trebone
more
for
dudes.
years.
There was at least 5 dudes in there that could pull out a win.
Page
Granted,
when he showed up.
Powers and Trebone were your dudes. Yeah, more than likely, but in the mix, in the race of it, for more than half of the racing, there would be 5, 6 dudes battling for it, and then the two would do their thing. But now it's just Strohmeyer and Bruner, and they destroy everybody on lap two, and it's like Vanderpool and wow.
Yeah, yeah, and which makes it exciting for some people, but for the vast majority, it becomes boring. And that's not going to change. That's not going to
Yeah,
change because any good cyclocross talent at that level is leaving for something else. They have to. I don't argue with that. But the top level talent isn't really what's driving the sport. It never really drove the sport in this country. It was fun to watch, but
no,
the amateurs didn't show up for it. I mean, the amateurs were showing up to race.
no. The American cyclocross is based on a series of, or not a series, but based off of like haberdashery and tomfoolery and like let's make
Not
this fun.
completely.
There's no
No,
development
not
in it.
completely. I mean, because there were years. Remember, one of the initial downturns in cyclocross in this country was based around burnout. It was in the 2014, 2015 era is when he started seeing people leaving cross because they were no longer doing road. They were like stepping out of their road season and they were spending the entire year training for cross. And there were so many then that would then, they'd have one mess up or whatever, and then they'd blow their whole season. They'd be like, why am I blowing my brains out every year, all year, training just for cyclocross? And a lot of people started going, there's no point in racing because I'm racing against a bunch of people who spend the entire year training for cyclocross. And so many people got dejected over the amount of time they'd have to spend to be competitive in cyclocross that they left. And they left quite honestly and went to gravel because it was easier. It was easier for them. The level of competition was lower. I've talked about this kind of stuff before. It's the people who can't but feel like they're competitive but can't win or do well, leave the discipline they're in to go try something else that's softer, that has not the same kind of depth in the field, so that they can do better and feel better about themselves. And gravel is an entire discipline that's designed to help people feel better about themselves. So it's done well for what it's done. I don't necessarily think. I mean, gravel is gravel. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. And
No.
participation numbers, it seems to me like most of the people that I know that do gravel have been slowly edging their way out of it, kind of like in the same general, cycle that people do road and then did cross and then they went to gravel and now they're going to find something else. And they're slowly reducing their participation in gravel. That being said, I think Barry sold out in record time this year, and they've already got a wait list of over 500 or 600 riders. And they opened Reg a couple days ago. It sold out in a day. So it's like, definitely people are still doing it. It's just a matter of, is it only going to be the big events? Are some of the more grassroots events going to start trailing off? There are fewer and fewer people that are as gaga over gravel as there used to be. So
The grassroots events, in my opinion, will start to tail off as gravel becomes even more racier than
yeah,
it already
it's going through
is.
the same arc that everything else goes through. That cross went through, where all of a sudden it got professionalized, or people were really training and trying to go hard and whatever. And you're seeing that at the grassroots. They saw it at the grassroots level, and that's why people left. And now
Right.
you're seeing it at the grassroots level for gravel as well too, where if it's not, well, if we're not stopping at every Casey's and having a full pizza, then it's not real gravel. I mean, I don't know, the champagne of gravel that everybody's throwing out, and new gravel and all these kind of words. This is all shit that people make up to try to explain why it's not as much fun for them anymore. And the reality is, it's not as much fun for them anymore because they're not doing as well as they felt like they used to do. And that damages their ego, and they want to go
Oh,
somewhere else.
that that or the vibe has gotten too
That's what I mean.
elitist.
And the vibe feels elitist when you're not doing as well. Because quite honestly, if you're still doing really well, you don't feel like it's an elitist vibe. You just feel like, yeah, no, it's, competition's great. We're having a lot of fun with this. This is awesome. You know? So the people that start saying it's elitist and the whole vibe is, it's just because they're not as good, and it damages their ego, and they don't like that. So they have to leave. Anyway, that's me not pulling my punches for this one. That's about as good as I'm going to get. There's a lot of other stuff that I want to not pull my punches on, but I'm going to pull them. So
Why?
I don't know, just argue with people. So anyway,
Give people something to think
if
about.
you have ideas, perspective, or comments on any of this, please send us an email at roadisdead, all one word, roadisdead@gmail.com. To be honest with you, I don't think I'm going to go back and edit the center of this. So I don't know, maybe I will. So, you know,
If you hit a stall around the 46-minute mark, just
yeah,
fast forward.
and just this is my formal apologies to all 10 of you. You can
Yeah.
send me an email at roadisdead@gmail.com. If you need some chamois cream, please by all means go and help out. Visit our sponsor. By the way, is not a sponsor; it's just me. At Buttonhole Chamois Cream, you can buy it at your favorite local shop. If they don't have it, if they're a Trek store and they say, "Oh, I don't know, Trek doesn't carry it anymore," yes, they do. They just change the part numbers. Tell them to actually go and search for it in their little system, extra or whatever it's called.
Nobody's going to remember.
Yeah, I know. I've gotten multiple Trek dealers that go, well, I don't know. I guess I got to buy it straight from you because Trek's not carrying it anymore. It's like, yeah, we changed the label, and when we changed the label, Trek had to put a new Trek number on it, and because they had to put a new Trek number on it, it's not in anybody's histories or anything like that. It doesn't just pop up on its own. So people go, well, I guess it's gone. So because quite honestly, our industry has done a lot to kind of prop up that feeling, well, if I can't find it readily the next day, then it must have gone out of business. If I had $1 for every time people have called me and gone, well, I thought you were out of business, it's like, no, I'm going to be here with my last $5, just like I will be at the last cross race with my last $5, because, I'm pig-headed and stubborn, much to my wife's chagrin.
How can you be in two places at one time?
What do you mean?
And if you use your last $5 here, how are you going to go to the cross race and be there with the last
Because
five
it's going
bucks
to
if
be
you've
one and
already
the
used it?
same, damn it. One and the same.
Oh, are you going to do 250 and
Sure, why
250?
not? So, also tread savvy. There is a sale on. I hate that they're calling it a Black Friday sale because it's not a sale just for one day. It's just some bullshit reason given to a sale that lasts multiple weeks around the Thanksgiving early holiday season. But Challenge has all tires on sale. They have opened up MAP for us, so I've killed off our discount codes at least for now. Through this sale. and I've just taken the sale price off of all the tires. So if you log in right now, you can get, I think it's 25% off of any tire that's from Challenge. So get your ass over there, buy them up. By the way, I'm probably going to throw a generalized additional sale in or free shipping or something like that pretty much every day between now and whenever, because I still have inventory. We're coming up on the end of cross season, and old to quote the old saying from the car dealer in Indiana when I grew up, old Dave needs the money. So, we're going to put it all on discount and we're going to sell it all. So go buy some tires, and pre-buy them for next year. The tires are still going to be good. Outside of that, any advice, trips, or techniques, anything like that you want to share? Yeah, sure. Why not?
No. I shared
You're
it
like, hell
last week.
no. Not only no, but hell no.
Do the same thing I told you to do last week.
Yeah, brush up on it.
No. Yeah, just keep keep focused and keep doing your thing. Stay focused, try to eliminate the noise and stay positive.
All right.
It's not easy to do these days.
Not at all. Well, thanks for joining us. Like, share, and subscribe. Mention this to your friends. Kind of spread it around. I did like that meme, what the Midwest Racing or whatever did on Instagram, where they were funny. Like basically
they do funny stuff. Yeah.
Basically, like we're the only ones that actually cover Chicago racing out of all the Chicago YouTube channels and stuff like that. So
it's hilarious. I like the last one where he's like, dude spent way too much money on bike parts.
that was rage, and he admitted it. He actually chimed in there. He's like, yeah, I know. Hey, it's part of it, man. Spending money on bike parts is part of racing. It helps keep this whole merry-go-round going. So
you don't have to spend too much money if you know how to take care of your equipment.
But hey, if you don't and you got the money to spend, by all means, it is your prerogative, and I encourage you to do so. Support those that support you. So with that being said, thank you for joining us, and we may not see you next week because it's Thanksgiving. We always record on Thursdays. So unless we're going to record early, we're not going to record a podcast next week. We may or may not do it. So we may take a week off. Depends on how things go on Monday and Tuesday. So if we don't, we'll see you the week after that, and enjoy the ride.
Adios.